We're at the Layton Criminal Court building where testimony wrapped today in the trial of Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke. The defense rested, and after a short rebuttal, the state rested. We saw a little bit of testimony, not a lot of fireworks today. Really what's going on now is the setup for the big piece of theater tomorrow, the closing arguments. What can we expect?
Well, I think we've seen narratives developing on both sides since opening statements. Throughout the trial, we've seen that the defense is very keyed in on this notion of which shot killed Laquan McDonald, insisting that somewhere in that first volley, and also that there were two volleys of shots, and in that first volley of shots was the fatal shot that struck McDonald in the chest, hit his pulmonary artery, and caused him to bleed out rapidly. How this plays into their closing argument, and we're not entirely sure whether this is a ploy to perhaps reduce the impact of those 16 counts of an aggravated battery by saying perhaps that 12 of them didn't matter because the fatal wound had already been inflicted. It's not clear where they're going with that, and I think we'll find that out tomorrow.
And what about the state? What do you think we'll hear from them?
I think we heard the state talking in cross-examination of the defense witnesses yesterday, the psychologist and Van Dyke himself, trying to drill down on this notion, and I think that is one of the things that we're lacking here, or that we haven't heard a lot about in this case, is motive. Why was he motivated to fire these shots? Why did he start shooting immediately when he was on the scene? And it's this notion that Laquan McDonald, as Joe McMahon said in his opening statement, had the audacity not to obey police. You heard Joe Cullen talking about the emotional response that an officer might have in a shooting, and that among the fear and other responses might also be anger or frustration. And I think we'll see some of that fleshed out in the closing arguments by the prosecution tomorrow.
Also key to this is how the jurors are going to be instructed to apply the evidence to the law. We really don't know how that's going to happen yet. We should find out tomorrow at closing's end, and the jury is instructed, and then it's time for deliberations, and anyone's guess how long that will take, right?
Right. I mean, there is no telling. I mean, I think fundamentally this case is going to boil down to the perception of what is reasonable, and whether a reasonable officer was in reasonable fear in the situation that Jason Van Dyke found himself in when he opened fire. That's going to get hashed out tomorrow, and we won't know how long it takes. Very likely the jury will be sequestered, and they'll want to get out of here quickly as well.
Regardless, it's all drawing to a close, and we'll be back tomorrow to hear those closing arguments. Thanks for watching.